Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 200 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills helps you improve your table tennis. The code 200 represents a successful connection when you visit a web page, so hopefully our 200th show will be a big success. Today, we're announcing a new competition where we're giving away 4 monthly premium memberships and 1 yearly premium membership. So stay listening to see how you can enter. We'll discuss the final results of the ITTF World Junior Championships, and in the questions, we'll talk about what to do when you haven't read the spin correctly, how to do the high toss serve like Vladimir Samsonov, training drills to improve your consistency, and the 8 things you need to think about when playing a shot. I'm Jeff Plum, and as always, Supercoach Alois Rosario is here to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Wow, how exciting. 200. Didn't think we'd reach that
pretty
far.
Exciting. Who would have thought we would get to 200 shows?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And waking up early on mornings. I didn't think you'd get to 200, Jeff, waking up early.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been a tough adjustment. But anyway, here we are, and it's going to be a big show, Alois.
It is, really is. So, we've got a few exciting announcements and, and some good questions to go on with too.
Absolutely. So some of the questions, Alois, we've taken some older questions today as well.
Yeah, we did. I've dug right back down into the archives, and we've gone through some of the first ever questions that were asked on the Ask the Coach page. So that's a long time ago. But, it's funny. Questions are still relevant, and we often get similar sort of questions now. So, yep, people at table tennis, people are still trying to learn and still trying to get information. So it's great.
Certainly is. Now, first up, Alois, let's talk about the competition. This is very exciting. What is it, and how can people get involved?
Yes. So what we're going to do is, as Jeff said at the head of the show, we're offering 4 one-monthly memberships and a yearly membership. And what we're going to do is we're going to have our PingSkills questions of the day for this week. So each day we will select the best question of the day from that day, and then the 5 people that win those will go into draw to win 1 yearly PingSkills membership. So that's what'll happen. So the best way to enter is to get onto the Facebook page or onto our blog and answer our PingSkills question of the day each day this week.
Excellent. That sounds exciting. So what I'm going to do, Alice, I'm going to jump straight into today's PingSkills question of the day. While people are still thinking about the competition, it is, what has been the highlight of the first 200 Ask the Coach shows? So as Alois said, jump onto our Facebook page or onto the PingSkills blog at pingskills.com and let us know the highlight of the first 200 shows. So tomorrow we will will we announce it live on the show who we've chosen to go into the draw, Alois?
Yep, we will.
So tomorrow's show is the cutoff for entering. So get your comment in. Love to hear from you, and good luck. All right, that's exciting, Alois.
It is, and anyone that mentions anything about Friday Funnies is automatically disqualified.
Don't listen to him. If you like it, put it down. All right. Now, while we're talking about these PingSkills questions, let's look at the last PingSkills question of the day, Alois, which was, who has been the most influential person in table tennis? What did people have to say?
Yeah, isn't it funny? Almost any question we talk about table tennis people, Waldner gets mentioned. So I reckon there's, 5 or 6 people that have mentioned Waldner as the most influential person in table tennis. And he was a great, great player, wasn't he? Just because he expanded the variety of strokes, I think, in table tennis. So yeah, definitely Waldner got a good mention. Timo Boll got a few mentions. Ma Long, Zhu Xin, and Chairman Mao got a mention by Trevor Hirth. Interesting. Yes. Chairman Mao, perhaps. And Matt Salt said Adam Sharara. And you know what, Matt? I tend to agree with you. I think that Adam Sharara has been one of the most influential people in table tennis because he's made a lot of changes and tried to drag table tennis into a new era of being able to be a spectator sport and to be able to really showcase our game.
So he was a long-time president of the International Table Tennis Federation, wasn't he?
That's right, yeah. And I mean, in some ways he's been a bit unpopular too, you know. So he's brought in a lot of rule changes and a lot of changes to the game, which have unsettled a lot of people. You know, including he was there when games up to 11 came in, Jeffrey.
Yes.
The bigger ball and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, so he has made a lot of changes. And so, yeah, for me, I think Adam Sharara has been a really influential person in the game of table tennis.
Yes. Oh, well, interesting discussion. And thanks, everyone, for getting involved. All right, Alois, before we move on, we must do this day in history. What happened on this day in history?
Yes, in 1942, Harry Chapin was born.
Harry Chapin. Who's Harry Chapin?
Harry Chapin, the singer of Cats in the Cradle. What a great song.
I do know him. Yes, the Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon. Excellent.
Yes. Yes.
And are you going to...
You don't want to give us a few bars of that, Jeff?
I was just wondering if you would end the show with a few verses for us.
No, I reckon, Jeff, you need to practice it on the guitar and get onto it for tomorrow.
Okay, let me have a think about that. The Cats in the Cradle. Awesome. Like it. And
maybe you can open the show tomorrow with Cats in the Cradle, Jeff.
What's that?
Maybe you could open the show with Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah, why not? And, you know, I mean, I know it's more about the family father and the son relationship, but, you know, it's kind of a message about time, isn't it? And, you know, I don't know if it's relevant to table tennis at all, but I'm trying to make a link.
I like it. Yes. You know, yeah, very, very, very good song. And a lot of people that, don't realize that it was Harry Chapin that sang that.
There you go. Well done, Harry Chapin. Yeah, all right.
A lot of people attribute it to Cat Stevens for some reason. I think because of the cat thing. But yes, Harry Chapin, Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah, and I guess it's a similar kind of type of music, so people often do make that mistake. All right, let's talk about the ITTF World Junior Championships, which finished over the weekend, Alois. What happened?
Yeah, well, here we go. Some results in the girls singles. Semi-finalists: Wang Manyu, Chen Qi, Wang Yidi, and Chen Jingtong. Any idea what the link between those four players might be, Jeff?
They're all Chinese.
Correct. Yep, all players from China. And the winner was Wang Manyu. So she beat Wang Yidi in the final, and in so doing became the first player to ever retain the World Junior Championship. So yeah, great effort there by Wang Manyu, and it was a close thing. So winning 4-3. She was down 3-1 as well. So down 3-1, yeah, managed to get up and win the final. And in the boys singles, Zhu Fei, Wang Chu Qin, Liu Ding Shu, and Zhu Cheng. Any idea what those four players might have in common, Jeff?
They're all Chinese.
All from China, correct. The 4 semi-finalists, all from China. And the winner was Liu Ding Shu from China, winning 4-0 against Zhu Fei. So I've only seen a little bit of these guys play. I saw Zhu Fei play. He's a right-hand penhole player. And looked okay. Saw him playing the teams. final, and actually might not have even been the final, it was an earlier round, and looked okay, but not unbeatable, I think. So Liu Dingshu, to me, reminds me a little bit of Wang Li Qin in his gameplay. Maybe he's just because he's a little bit taller and things like that. But yeah, looks a little bit like Wang Li Qin to me. But it's a really ominous sign, isn't it? For world table tennis, or for the other countries in the world, that these 8 players, that 4 boys and 4 girls, have dominated the singles at the World Junior Championships.
Yes, certainly is. And I guess it makes sense, they've got such a large pool to choose from. They train hard and, they deserve their success.
Yeah, and they train from a young age too. So, there's no surprise that by the time they've reached the top of the junior ranks, that they are the best players. The European players tend to mature a little bit later as well. They start a bit later. They don't do as much, or that bulk of training in those really early years. So, yeah, not a big surprise that the Chinese dominate the junior events.
Yes, indeed. All right, so there we go. That is the World Junior Championships, and big results to China as expected. All right, let's move on to some questions, Alois. First up, a question from Yap, who says, if you do not know the amount of spin that is on the ball, is it safer to do a slow spinny loop?
Yeah, I think it really is. So if you're struggling, to see whether it's backspin or topspin or a lot of side spin, if you can just get a really nice fine brushing contact on the ball, so by just doing that, so you're really brushing it up fast, you start to put your own spin on the ball. So if the ball's spinning one way with backspin or side spin or whatever it is, if you can really brush that ball fast, then you put the spin on the ball in the direction that you want the ball to go, and the spin that you want the ball to go with. So that spinny top spin is really important. The important part, though, is that it's got to be a really sharp, fine, fast brushing action. If you just do it slowly, then whatever spins on the ball is still going to be able to react and kick off the bat at you, or away from you. So yeah, so make sure that contact is really fast and fine. And yes, it is, for me, it's the safer way of trying to read the spin on, or trying to return those awkward spinny serves.
Okay, and are you aiming for like a high loop to give you a high margin for error over the net?
Yeah, that's right. So the higher ball, as Jeff said, gives you that more margin for error as well. So if you're trying to loop the ball just over the net like that, if you misread it a little bit, it's going to go down into the net. So give it plenty of air. The top spin is going to drag the ball down, so you don't have to worry about the ball going off the end or into the net. Just really rip it up really nice and fast contact.
Now, does this mean we don't need to bother reading the spin on the ball, or is this just used for emergency situations where we get caught out?
Yeah, it's when you're unsure. I mean, if you can read the spin on the ball, then you can start to do a lot more things, obviously. So if you can read that it's heavy backspin, then you can just come in and really brush it hard and fast and give them a stronger ball sometimes. If you're always just spinning the ball up finely, your opponent's going to get used to that and be able to crunch the next return. So use it as an emergency ball that where you're not sure about the spin, and you can also use it as as a tactical play as well. Slowing up that spinny ball can be really good as well. So but if you're unsure, then that's probably your best go-to shot.
Gotcha. Makes a lot of sense. All right. Thanks for the question, Yap. Now, Ilya has jumped on and asked a question live on the show using the Google Q&A app. So thank you, Ilya. And anyone can do this. Just visit our Google Plus page. And the best way to get to our Google Plus page is just go to pingskills.com, scroll down the bottom, and there's a little icon for the Google Play page. And there you just hit the Q&A button and you can ask a question. And Ilya has said, and it's related to this previous question, Alice, Can you distinguish heavy topspin from heavy backspin by just looking at the rotating ball?
Yeah, so the rotation isn't really what you can see usually. I mean, unless there's a really big label on the ball and you happen to catch the label. So
But
it's not
even
really.
then, Alois, I find that the label's moving so fast, it is a bit hard to tell. You know, like when you see a car and the wheels spinning and the hubcap, sometimes it looks like it's spinning backwards, even though it's spinning forwards.
Yeah, that's really true. So yeah, you're right. I think the distinguishing thing that you can tell is if it's a no spin ball or a heavy spin ball, and the only time is if you see the label coming at you, then you know that it's a no spin ball. So, but the thing that you can glean from watching the ball and about the spin is the flight or the trajectory of the ball. So a top spin ball is going to dip quicker. It's going to have that sort of trajectory more. The backspin ball is going to have a lower and flatter type of trajectory. So that's something that you can get from watching the ball, and it doesn't happen straight away. So certainly the first time you look at it, it'll look exactly the same. But with experience and building up that database and seeing the reactions, seeing what happens, recording in there, okay, that one was a little bit loopier, that one was a little bit flatter, you'll start to piece that all together. So it does take time, but yes, you can get that sort of information. And also you can get information by how the ball's curving in the air. So if it's curving, then it's got some side spin on the ball as well.
Yeah, certainly. And I guess the difference between the heavy topspin and heavy backspin, you can also see it just by the way it bounces off the table.
Yes, yeah. So the top spin is going to kick at you more. The backspin is going to sit up more. So you can do that. So often that becomes a little bit too late because the ball's already on you or the ball's sitting up. But yeah, I mean, put that all together and you start to build a pretty good picture of what type of spins on the ball.
Certainly. Thanks for the question, Ilya.
And Ilya's probably been one of our biggest asker of questions live on the show too. So thank you, Ilya, over the 200 shows.
Yes, thank you. All right. Next up, Julio says, I'm a great fan of Vladimir Samsonov and Kalinkos Krianga, and I have a lot of curiosity about how he, meaning Samsonov, does his high toss serve. What are some tips here, Alois?
Yeah, I love Samsonov's high toss serve. It's so smooth and it looks so easy. The probably the most important thing with a high toss serve is the actual toss. So, initially, especially, get that toss correct. If you can get that toss in the right spot, then you can start to do a little bit more with the high toss serve.
Yeah, I guess it's a step that a lot of people miss, Alois. They just go straight into trying to hit the serve, but if they haven't got the toss right, they're always chasing the ball, and it's hard to put everything into place. So you just need to get that basic thing in place first.
Yeah, definitely. If you're trying to learn a new technique and the ball's not in the right spot, it becomes difficult. Like if you're trying to learn a backhand counter hit and one ball's going there and one ball's going there, I mean, you just can't learn it effectively. So it's the same thing. We need to get that ball dropping into the same spot each time so you can start to perfect the contact of that high toss serve. So a couple of other things with a high toss serve are just think about just letting the ball drop onto the bat more. So rather than trying to go after the ball, just let the ball drop onto the bat and generate the spin. The speed of the ball dropping from a greater height adds the spin because it's contacting the bat faster. So you don't need to do a whole lot. And often the more relaxed motion actually is a bit more deceptive. So if you're just doing this with a really easy, simple motion, the thing in your opponent's head is that, there's not that much spin on the ball. whereas there is more spin because of the actual speed of the ball. So it can be also deceptive as well. So yeah, so that's a couple of things to think about with the high toss serve. But I mean, if you want to see an example, I mean, Samsonov has just got the best high toss serve, and it's just so smooth and easy. And yeah, can't recommend it highly enough. And we've also got a lesson on the high toss serve. So for any of you that of our premium members, you can jump straight on there, and we go through all the skills involved to learn and perfect the high toss serve as well.
We certainly do. And Alois, we have a specific Ask the Coach video response on the Vladimir Samsonov serve. So again, I think that's a premium member one. So premium members, check those out. We'll put links in the show notes. If you're not a premium member, then either enter our competitions this week for your chance to become one, or just sign up for our premium membership at pingskills.com. Lots of great information for you to improve your table tennis. All right. Now, next up is a question from Charles Anyon, Alois, who says, I've been playing table tennis for around 3 months and would like to improve my consistency. What training drills do you suggest?
Yes. For consistency, the most important thing is just count how many balls you can put on the table. So if you can put the ball on the table a lot of times, then you know that you're starting to get your stroke, your technique correct as well. So that's the thing. The most important thing, just get a lot of balls on the table in training. So aim for 10 to start with, aim for 50, aim for 100, aim for 1,000. Just challenge yourself to keep getting more and more, and that's the best way to improve your consistency. Don't think about trying to hit winners. Think about keeping that ball on the table as long as you possibly can.
So yeah, so to do that, is the best way simply just to count the number that you get on in a row and then just record those and keep, like a high score?
Yeah, and we've got a consistency chart that you can download for free from our free downloads page. So and on there you can just record for yourself, put in which stroke you're recording, put in the date, put in your score, and you can keep it a nice record. And often just keeping that on the wall, if you've got a table tennis room, or just keep it in your bat case is good as well. So then each time you go to training, you can pull it out, or you can see it up on the wall there, and you can try and get more and more than your previous record.
There you go. Now, big thank you to Charles Anyon for that question, because that was our first ever question, Alois.
It was indeed the first ever question on Ask the Coach. So there you go, Charles. Thank you.
All right. Now, I think we admitted this in another show, Alois, but Charles Anyon's actually a friend of mine. He didn't post it. I posted it. It was our first question. We had to get something going when no one knew about the site. So I think I posted a couple of questions, and that was the first one I did. I think it's still relevant, though. It's a good question, right?
Well, if it was from you, it must be, Jeff.
Oh, thanks. But luckily, thanks to all the PingSkillers, we only had to put a couple up there, and then, people started asking more and more questions. And look, now we're at show 200 of answering your questions. So big thank you to everyone who gets involved and asks questions. We love answering them, and hopefully it's helping you guys out too.
Yeah, so Jeff, I'm just having a look. I think we're actually up to question 15,134.
Wow, that's a lot of questions that have been answered. So yes, indeed. Thank you. But what it also means, Alois, is that there's a great database there of questions. So if you want to find something out, go to pingskills.com, click on the Ask the Coach link, and you can just search through all those questions. And yes, so much information in there. So I encourage you to jump onto the PingSkills website and search through all those questions to see what information you can find to help your game. All right. Now, let's talk about a question from Victor E, who's jumped on live on the show. And he said, first up, he said, I thought you were going to celebrate. Woohoo! Celebrating. Yeah. Woohoo! Show 200. Yeah.
Good celebration.
But then Victor E says, Do you have a tip against an annoying defender who blocks every smash and topspin I do?
Yes, indeed, Victory Brocky. Again, one of our stalwarts on this show and asked lots of questions. So thank you, Victory Brocky. So against a defender that's able to block everything, especially your faster shots, the key is to change it up. You've got to add variation of speed and spin and placement. They're your three variables: speed, spin, and placement. If you play the same speed and the same to the same place with the same spin, then it's going to be easier for them. If you start to vary the positioning of the ball, for one, then they need to start to read where the ball's coming. If you vary the speed of the ball, so some fast and some slow, then they need to react to that as well. And then you can also vary the spin on the ball. So sometimes that slower spinny top spin that we talked about earlier in the show, or sometimes a faster top spin or with less spin, then the defender now has to do a lot of thinking. It's not just a matter of just blocking the ball back. It's a matter of they've got to read where the ball's coming, react to the speed, react to the spin, and that is how you get some mistakes out of the defensive players. Don't try and just play fast, and blast through them.
Yeah, certainly. And we have a video talking about exactly that in our match strategy course for premium members. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes too. Good question, Victory. All right, next up is a question from John D, who says, once upon a time, I read that there are 8 things a table tennis player should do each time they hit the ball. Can you please refresh my memory as to what those 8 things are? Thank you.
Yeah, so firstly, you can forget all about 8 things. Like when we're playing a game of table tennis, if the ball's coming towards you and you're trying to think of 8 things, you are finished. There is no chance. You have to just clear your mind of all of those things. You've got to just focus on the ball. If you can start to just focus on the ball in your matches, then everything else will start to come together. If I'm trying to think of, as the ball's coming to me, I'm going to start to think about my start position and finish position and shoulder and the way that my mouth is held this way or that way. It just can't work. You just cannot physically process all those things in that short amount of time. The only thing you can do is watch the ball. Now, let me clarify that. In training is when we are doing all of those other things. So, but again, we can only do one at a time. So in training, I can start to focus on my start position. I can focus on my finish position. I can focus on the way I'm holding my mouth if I want. But you can't be thinking about 8 things at the same time, and definitely not in a match situation. So use your training time to work through those things one at a time and try to improve those things in training. Once it gets to a match, the only thing you can do is watch the table tennis ball. That will give you all the information that you need.
Yeah. And Alois, this reminds me of learning to drive a car. Like learning a stroke is a whole process. It goes from being very difficult. Like when you first learn to drive a car, it seems like everything's happening. You've got to worry about the accelerator, the brake, changing gears, indicators. There seems to be too many things to cope with, and it's really difficult. But the more you practice, you start to put those things into place, and it becomes automatic. And eventually, you're just driving down the street, and you get there without even noticing you've passed certain roads. And I guess you want the same thing to happen with your strokes. At first, it's going to be a struggle to get it right. But as you practice more and more, it's going to become automatic. And then in a game, you should be just focusing on the ball, and it should happen automatically.
That's right. Focus on the road.
Yes, focus on the road. Don't be texting or talking on your mobile phone. Focus on the road. So important. All right. Great question, John D. And I think you dug that one out of the archives too, Alois, but that was a real question.
It was. That was one of our very early questions. I think it was, question 8 or 9 or something like that. out of
Yes.
15,000.
Yes, very good. And, Victory's asked another question here, Alice, and he said, what's the world record number of counter hits?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. Someone might be able to provide that for us on our Facebook page. If you know the world record number of counter hits, put it on there.
Yeah, put it on there. And I'm not sure. I think the world record, Alois, from memory, they actually do it in time rather than number. And I think someone broke it recently. So if anyone knows, chuck it on our Facebook page or comment on our blog when this episode goes up. Well, Alois, there you go. That is show 200. It's been a great show, and I thank everybody for helping us reach this number. Without you and your questions, we would have never made it. So yes, once again, thank you. And Alois, a big thank you to you for all your words of wisdom over the 200 shows.
Thanks, Jeff. And yes, thank you to you too, while we're thanking people, because Jeff puts this show together. He's the producer. Thanks, viewers. Really important, your contribution and asking those questions. So keep it up, and let's see how we go over the next 100. Let's go.
Awesome. All right. Don't forget to put your answer in to the PingSkills question of the day for your chance to win some premium memberships. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
Cats in the crib.